Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be finally escaped the friend zone, but was it worth the wait? So I've got an email success story from a guy. I kind of mentioned this in yesterday's video newsletter. What was the title of that? How Women Manipulate Men Using the Friend Zone. And I mentioned that I had one coming up where there's a guy. There's a lot of facepalm moments in this. This went on for like 4 years. This guy did all kinds of crazy favors for this woman as she basically continued to sleep with and date other men. I had some similar stories back in my youth, my inexperienced youth, and I wrote about in 3% Man, my first book, which you can read for free at understandingrelationships.com. And anyways, so I got a quote that I wrote. So I thought this one would be kind of amusing because, I mean, at the end of the day, he was able to successfully seduce this woman. But what was interesting, they started dating and hanging out a lot, and then she asked him to be her boyfriend. And his response was a little surprising because you'd think that, hey, after 4 years of waiting, so it's a really interesting story because you just see because I know there's a lot of guys that get themselves into this situation. I know I was definitely guilty of it, so I'm not calling the kettle black because when I was young and dumb and didn't know any better, I did some of the same things. Not like this for 4 years and the amount of ridiculousness that this guy did, but it's just pretty interesting. So the quote says, in order for a woman to truly love and submit to a man, she must know that if she pushes him too far, he will walk and never look back. If a man is unwilling to stand up for himself when he is disrespected and jerked around by a woman, she will never trust his masculine core to feel safe enough to let him lead her in a relationship. If you don't love, value, and respect yourself enough to stand up to people who mistreat or take you for granted, you won't get any love or respect. Whatever you tolerate in life, the universe will give you more of. So with that said, let's go through his email. He says, hey, Coach, just wanted to give you my success story of how I successfully escaped the friend zone and if it was worth the wait or not. And so I look at these kinds of situations as this is a good thing. This is a success. This is checking off a box. Because the worst thing is, whether you're trying to get an ex back or you're trying to get out of friend zone, is wanting something that you can't have is torture. It's hard, especially when your emotions are involved and it involves caring for another human being who's not really reciprocating it. And then you finally get to experience what you wanted, whether it's getting that person back who wanted nothing to do with you, or getting out of friend zone with somebody that you fantasized with, like in this case, for 4 years, and you finally get to have that experience. Because when you get the girl back or you get out of friend zone, and then you're the one that leaves or decides to end it and move on, you're going to feel a lot better than having never gotten to experience it. And I had this experience I wrote about in 3% Man also with an old girlfriend of mine. It's like when you finally get to experience what you wanted, whether it's getting the ex back or whatever, or dating that ultimate woman that you think is so amazing, and then you get to actually experience what she's like day in and day out on a weekly, monthly, several year basis. It's like you can walk away with a sense of peace and inner strength and confidence. It literally makes you feel better instead of missing out on something. Because remember, rejection breeds obsession. And it always feels better to be the dumper than the dumpy. And so I root for guys like this because I see myself in these emails, and it's just nice to see. It's like you can just imagine the amount of emotional energy that this guy invested in putting up with the things that were going on with this particular woman, and hearing about how she slept with other men. And there's even a convention that he was at with her, and she disappeared for a few hours, and he later found out what she was up to, which is, it's kind of surprising, it's kind of funny, but the goal is to learn from these things so you don't get yourself into a situation, or, because I know there's going to be lots of guys that are watching this that are stuck in a similar situation. And this is the kind of thing that can kind of pull them out of a black hole. Because here they see the real world principles that are in 3% Man applied to a specific situation. And even after 4 years of being stuck in platonic friend zone, he was able to get what he wanted. He was able to seduce her successfully. So back to the email. He says, so I met one of the most beautiful exotic females I've ever seen from the country of Honduras when I was 19 going on 20 at a call center job. Her accent, to her looks, to how she walked, had me in awe of her. But I never approached her or showed her attention that was garnered by the others at work. Somehow this caught her eye, and eventually we started hanging out, and she told me my non-attachment feeling somehow attracted her more to me. At the time, she had everyone in the office throwing themselves at her, including managers. Remember, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And if everybody's chasing the hottest girl and you treat her just like anybody else, she's going to start to wonder why. Why doesn't this guy like me when everybody else seems to? And that causes her to like you more, because that vibe, that energy that you give off is the energy of abundance. It's the energy of a guy that's already got plenty of feminine energy, sex, and fun in his life. He doesn't need any more. The last thing he's looking for. And so he's putting out a non-hungry vibe. That's a more balanced alpha male vibe, and it attracts women like moss to a flame, or moss to a light bulb, if you will. She eventually offered to sleep with me, being the first person since she's been with since her ex that she had a baby with. However, he obviously fumbled the football. He says, I blew this opportunity, becoming uncentered and acting like a guy who's never had sex before, which was an automatic turnoff, so she made an excuse to say she wasn't ready for sex. She offers to sleep with him, and then he acts like a beta male, and then she says, oh, I'm not ready for sex. What she's really saying is, yeah, you turned me off and made my pussy drier than a bucket of sand. So you don't get access to the box. Over the next 4 years, yes, 4 years, he puts in big bold letters, I chased her, I validated her, tried to solve all her problems, and listening to all her problems. I was always there for her. I would stop whatever I was doing to talk to her and see her, and she literally had no respect for me as a potential lover. That's why she only had platonic feelings for him, after initially she found him attractive because he was giving off the right vibe. He says, it got so bad to the point where I was picking her up from and taking her to work every day, which was a 30-minute drive to her job, which was a small business ran in an apartment complex, and found out that she slept with her coworkers, even her boss that she introduced me to. Ooh, bet that stung. Guy's thinking, I'm going to get my chance. Woo! Nope. No chance. She spent the night over his house multiple times, claiming she never had sex with him before. I found out that was a lie. We also took a trip to a company convention. I paid for all of her expenses to go to hotel, gas, food, etc. Damn. Now listen to this. We slept in the same bed during this trip and multiple times after this as well, and had no sexual activities. Damn. That's brutal. Imagine the blue balls. He must have had blue balls the size of watermelons. During this trip, we were all located in a football stadium with people from all over the country, and she ended up saying she was going to use the restroom, which lasted almost 2 hours. Come to find out, 2 years later, she would tell me she ended up sleeping with a guy she knew during this convention while she left me there at the convention center alone. So he pays for everything. He's paying for the hotel, her food, her drinks, and to repay him, what does she do? She disappears for 2 hours and goes and fucks some other guy that was acting like an alpha male. That's pretty emasculating. But these are the kinds of things that cause you emotional pain, and eventually you get to the breaking point and you're like, I'm done with this. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of living this way. I'm tired of her going and fucking other dudes while I'm paying for all the bills. Because at the end of the day, people don't change their approach until they hit the wall and they recognize, all this crap that I saw on TV and the movies, it just ain't working. He invited her to his hotel and everything. The tipping point in me finding your work was after 3 years of knowing her, she was planning on moving to Mexico for the winter during this time. Before she moved, I helped her do everything in order to make the move to Mexico. So he's probably thinking, man, I'm going to lose my chance. This girl's going to move away. He's recognizing that after 3 years, his approach, his strategy that he got brainwashed into believing by Western media and television programming was garbage. He says, I cleaned out her apartment, I dumped the trash out, I moved everything to temporary storage to make sure she was fed, I let her borrow my car, all of that. Damn. I texted her every day when she was in Mexico, then to come to find out that just after a month and a half in Mexico, she ended up getting in a relationship with this guy I knew that I was better looking than. Ain't about looks when it comes to the ladies. She even told me, I know this guy isn't the best looking. This crushed me at this point. I believed I was doing everything right. What they taught me in the movies, being persistent and never giving up. What I was doing wrong, I questioned myself, and that's when I found your work. He and like I said, he hit the wall. He recognized that 3 years of this strategy, he did what he saw on TV and the movies, and he said, something's not right. It didn't work. He says it was a huge slap to the face seeing everything I was doing in your videos were 99% wrong. You only did things right in the very beginning when she became attracted to you. I began implementing these tactics when she moved back, such as texting less, being less available, focusing on my purpose and setting dates, when she asked to hang out instead of friendship things. It was amazing to see how quickly her interest flipped after applying these simple changes. At the time, she was doing long distance with a guy from Mexico, so when she would tell me he didn't want us hanging out, I instantly applied the walk away and never look back strategy, and to see her response to that, she ended up dumping the boyfriend because she didn't want to lose me. So even though he was stuck in friend zone for 4 years basically, she had a deeper emotional bond with him than the guy that she was fucking in Mexico that was long distance. This is why in the quote in the beginning of the video, I said, women have to know that if they push you too far, you'll walk and never look back. And that's where he got to. He's like, I'm not getting anything anyways. Might as well walk away and never look back and at least have some self-respect. Because maybe she comes back and we hook up, and maybe not. But at least she'll respect me because I finally got tired of putting up with her bullshit and being stuck in friend zone. After that, I started being more confident and daring like you teach in the James Bond video. I believe he's referencing What Would James Bond Do, which was another great success story from several years ago from an awesome student. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend it because that guy just got everything down to a science. He systematized, built his seduction machine around his life. And her reaction to this was shocking. She would gasp as if I wasn't supposed to say stuff like this, but ended up being turned on by the confidence and daring statements, which led to her touching more and being in my space even more, and literally flipped my 99% pursuing that I started off with to her doing 100% of it. Good fucking job, dude. Very proud of you. I know it's tough to turn around, but when you've been beat down so much, it's like the only place you can go is up from there. It wasn't too soon after this that we ended up having 9 sessions of the Indoor Olympics, one which was hosted on the mountains while hiking at nighttime. Sweet. Eventually, she asked for a relationship. I'm shocked. And after all this time, over the last 4 years of pursuing her, turning down other females for her, being her literal human puppy begging for attention, ignoring all of her red flags because of her beauty, I told her no. How awesome is that? Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Just think of all the money he could have saved over all those years. I mean, I give my book away for free. I mean, come on. And on top of that, you can read my second book, Mastering Yourself, for free, which is a book of self-reliance, which will help you with your purpose and mission in life so you don't have to rely on other people or the government to take care of and solve your problems for you. The reason why I told her no is because I hadn't experienced enough women, enough dating to know what it is exactly that I wanted. I was not going to settle for the first and only woman I could ever get. I want to thank you, Corey, because of you, I've learned from the programming that they teach us in society is wrong, and I will pass this information to my future kids and friends, and this knowledge will continue to not settle for anything. And regarding the girl, she belongs to the streets. Here's to you, bro. Here's your success story. Good job, man. Very proud of you. I know it feels good. It feels liberating. I know it was emasculating for many years, but you totally walked away with all of the power. And that's the way it's supposed to be. The man is supposed to be the power. He's supposed to be the powerhouse. He's supposed to hold all the cards, but you don't get what you deserve in life. You only are going to get what you negotiate. And so when you negotiate from a position of strength and leverage, you just won't tolerate any bullshit from women that try to get you to do things that compromise your principles, your values, your goals, your needs, your wants, and desires. If they don't like it, they can go on down the fucking road, because if they don't recognize your value, walking away shows that you recognize it, and eventually you'll come across a woman who really recognizes your value. So if you're in a challenge with your personal or your professional life and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.